The 1950s. America stepped into the post-war era with optimism running high. Cars weren't just transportation anymore, they were a symbol of lifestyle, of prosperity, and of ego. Automakers raced to build dazzling machines, polished like rolling showroom pieces. But not every car succeeded. Some looked like they came from the future, yet drove like they came from a different world entirely. And today, we're looking at some of the most questionable cars in American automotive history. Not to laugh them off, but to understand the engineering, design, and strategic mistakes that got them there. Number 12. The 1950 Ford Crestliner. Right after World War II, American automakers rushed to build something different to lure buyers back into the showroom. Ford was no exception. So they introduced the Crestliner, a sedan whose big selling point was a black vinyl roof. That's right, a car marketed heavily because it had fake leather glued to the top. At the time, the vinyl roof idea might have seemed bold, giving the car a sporty upscale look. But beyond that cosmetic touch, the Crestliner had nothing new to offer. The same old flathead V8 engine, standard steering and suspension, no breakthrough technology anywhere. Buyers expected a different driving experience, and they were let down. The vinyl roof was controversial too. Some people thought it looked cool, plenty of others thought it looked cheap and fake. The bigger problem was that outside of that roof, the Crestliner had nothing to compete with Chevrolet or Plymouth at the time. Ford only built the Crestliner for a short run. Despite its classic, charming look, this model was quickly forgotten, because it represented a mindset of chasing a surface-level gimmick while forgetting the core value underneath. Number 11. The 1951 Mercury Monterey. At first glance, the Mercury Monterey looked like the American dream. A long body, sweeping lines, gleaming chrome, all radiating elegance and class. Ford positioned it for buyers who wanted something more upscale than a regular sedan, but weren't ready to step up to a Lincoln, and style-wise, the Monterey delivered. It looked like a coupe a movie star of the era might drive, stylish and modern. But then you got behind the wheel. The trouble started the moment you hit the gas. Under the hood sat a flathead V8, strong enough for city driving, but nowhere near enough to deliver any real thrill. The steering was heavy, the body was big and bulky, and driving the Monterey felt like steering a sofa on wheels. The interior was roomy and upscale, but not all that different from cheaper cars of the same era. And with a higher price tag than its rivals, without standout technology or superior performance to justify it, the Monterey quickly faded into the background. Today, the Monterey is remembered as a fashion car, a good-looking machine that never had the substance to become a lasting icon. When style is all you have and depth is missing, a car gets left behind fast. Number 10. The 1959 Chevrolet El Camino. Blending the practicality of a pickup with the comfort of a coupe sounds appealing, at least on paper. That's exactly what the 1959 Chevrolet El Camino was chasing, a two-in-one vehicle, part fun, part hauler. In reality, though, the El Camino ended up lost between two worlds. Built on the Chevrolet Impala platform, the El Camino inherited the flashy design language of the 50s, big tail fins, a low stance, sweeping curves. But that same look made it feel more like a showpiece than a work truck. Weak payload capacity, a low ground clearance, a small bed, and low towing capability meant it couldn't compete with real pickup trucks. On the passenger car side, the El Camino didn't offer the comfort or convenience of a sedan from the same era either. Interior space was sacrificed for the bed design, leaving drivers with a car that felt like neither one thing nor the other. Not quite a car, not quite a truck. Around the same time, Ford launched the Ranchero, a similar concept but more practical and better balanced, which overshadowed the El Camino right out of the gate. Bold idea, sure. But the 1959 version proved a simple point. When you try to do two things at once, sometimes you end up doing neither one well. Number 9. The 1957 Lincoln Premier. If you wanted to turn every head on the street in 1957, the Lincoln Premier was your car. With a flashy exterior, chrome piled on thick, and a massive stature, it wasn't shy about announcing itself as the pinnacle of American luxury. The problem? It was almost too much to handle. The Premier stretched nearly 19 feet long and weighed more than 2.2 tons. That made maneuvering through the city a nightmare. A heavy front end, a raised rear, and limited visibility made driving it feel like piloting a ship. Despite a powerful V8 under the hood, the car still responded sluggishly and drank fuel at an alarming rate, even by 1950s standards. Inside, it was genuinely luxurious, thick cushioned seats, premium materials, plenty of electric conveniences. But behind all that glamour sat a design lacking real innovation. While rivals like Cadillac were starting to roll out advanced technology, Lincoln was standing still. With a high price, oversized proportions, and performance that didn't match the hype, the Premier couldn't hold on to customers for long. Today it's remembered as a symbol of an era when American automakers substituted bigness and glitz for refinement and efficiency. Number 8. The 1958 Buick Limited. Buick used to stand for accessible luxury, but the 1958 Limited played like an off-key symphony. At over 18 feet long and weighing nearly 2.3 tons, this car was essentially a yacht on the street, heavy and hard to maneuver in the tight urban spaces of the time. Under the hood sat a 364 cubic inch V8, powerful sounding on paper, but fuel economy was laughably poor, hovering around 7 to 8 miles per gallon. And the interior was genuinely upscale, leather seats, full power accessories, but add it all up and you got a car almost nobody wanted to drive every day. The issue wasn't just size, it was the whole design philosophy. More chrome, longer is better. The result was an oversized, overpriced car that ultimately flopped in the market. Buick sold only around 7,400 units, and the Limited was discontinued the very next year. A textbook example of what happens when design overtakes function. Number 7. The 1955 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz. At the peak of American extravagance, Cadillac defined wealth and style, and the Eldorado Biarritz sat right at the top of that definition. At a launch price of over $6,200, roughly $70,000 today, this was a car built for people who wanted to prove their status more than enjoy the drive. At first glance, the Eldorado Biarritz was a work of art. Tall, soaring tail fins, gleaming chrome trim, a sleek two-door convertible top. But look closer and the cracks appear. The heavy weight of the car hurt acceleration, even with a 331 cubic inch V8 producing 270 horsepower. Driving through tight city streets was tiring too, thanks to the wide body and low center of gravity. What's more telling is this: you paid for the design, but you didn't get any real breakthrough in return. No pioneering technology, no exceptional performance, just looks. And those looks came with a steep maintenance bill too. From the leather interior to the gold-plated trim, everything was expensive and hard to replace. The Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz was, without question, a symbol of prestige. But it was also proof that you can pay for the flash without getting a fully rounded car in return. A masterpiece to look at, but a luxury game not built for the average buyer. Number 6. The 1957 Ford Skyliner Retractable. Picture a car that could transform itself from a hardtop coupe into a convertible with the push of a button. It sounds like a miracle for 1950, doesn't it? Well, Ford actually pulled it off with the Skyliner Retractable, the first mass-produced car with a fully retractable, hardtop roof. But behind the spectacle was a genuinely messy reality. The Skyliner's folding roof mechanism was a mechanical marvel. 7 electric motors, 6 locking mechanisms, 4 lifting units, and nearly 600 feet of wiring. When it worked smoothly, it was a stunning show. But the moment a single motor failed, everything ground to a halt. On top of that, the storage space needed for the folded roof ate up almost the entire trunk, leaving barely any room for luggage on a road trip. Combined with the extra weight from all that complex machinery, the car became heavier, thirstier, and harder to handle than other Fords of the era. And at a price of nearly $3,000 at the time, more than $33,000 today. The Skyliner left plenty of people asking themselves, was that folding roof show really worth all the hassle? The Ford Skyliner retractable stands as a perfect example of impressive engineering not translating into commercial success. Today it's celebrated as a mechanical masterpiece worth collecting, but back then it served as a warning. When engineers overthink things, drivers end up with a headache. Number 5. The 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. If you lived in America in 1959, the money it took to buy a house could also buy you a Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. A starting price of over $3,000 at the time, equivalent to roughly $135,000 today, made it one of the most expensive cars ever built in America. So what justified that price tag? The answer was pure extravagance: leather, wool, and brushed stainless steel inside, a gleaming stainless steel roof, and an absurd list of luxury touches: a built-in perfume bottle, stainless steel cocktail cups, and even memory seats. Every single Brougham was hand-assembled, giving owners the feeling of driving an American-made Rolls-Royce. But underneath all that opulence lay a mountain of technical headaches. The advanced air suspension broke down constantly, the cutting-edge electronics were a nightmare to repair, and the sheer weight of the body left even a powerful V8 gasping for breath. Driving it through the city became an awkward experience, big and clumsy to maneuver. Cadillac built exactly 99 units of the Eldorado Brougham that year. Rare and unusual as it was, this model never became a popular choice because it represented a flawed philosophy that excessive luxury isn't always what customers actually need. Number 4. The 1956 DeSoto Adventurer. Right from the name Adventurer, DeSoto wanted to project the image of a car built for thrill seekers, for speed, for something bold. And credit where it's due, the exterior design really did turn heads: daring curves, sparkling chrome, and a striking two-tone paint job. Unfortunately, only the looks were fast. Everything else fell short. The Adventurer was marketed as a high-performance model, a rival to the Corvette and the Thunderbird. On paper, a powerful Hemi V8 producing over 300 horsepower sounded very promising. But once you got behind the wheel, the weaknesses showed up fast. Soft suspension, weak brakes, and a heavy body meant the driving experience felt vague and anything but sporty. Buyers expected a fast coupe and instead got a car that looked quick but drove like a family sedan. That was the core problem. The advertising and the reality didn't match. And in the 1950s, right as the performance car boom was taking off, that mismatch pushed the Adventurer straight out of the race. Today, the Adventurer stands as a perfect lesson. If you're going to promise speed, make sure the steering wheel can back it up. Number 3. The 1958 Lincoln Continental Mark III. Some cars make you feel like royalty the moment you step in. The Mark III made you feel like you were piloting a battleship instead. Nearly 20 feet long and weighing more than 2.3 tons, the Lincoln Continental Mark III became a symbol of excess in both design and purpose. Lincoln wanted to build a flagship luxury model to go head-to-head with Cadillac. They packed it full of modern features for the time: 6-way power seats, an automatic trunk lid, power windows, all sounding impressive on paper. But there was one big problem. Everything was heavy and prone to breaking down. The boxy design, the short and unbalanced tail fins, and a front end as stiff as an armored vehicle all made the Mark III look disjointed and far from graceful. And on the road, a 430 cubic inch V8, powerful as it was, couldn't make up for the car's sluggishness or its brutal fuel consumption. At a price of nearly $6,000 at the time, more than $65,000 today, the Mark III landed right in fierce competition with the Cadillac Eldorado, without quite having the substance to win. Today, the Mark III is remembered not for success, but for representing an era when automakers believed bigger meant more luxurious, meant better. And they were wrong. Number 2. The 1958 Edsel Pacer. Ford genuinely believed Edsel would become the new ace in its lineup, filling the gap between Ford and Mercury. Instead of a breakthrough, the Edsel Pacer turned into one of the most painful failures in American automotive history. Why did it go so wrong? From the name itself to the marketing campaign, Ford loaded Edsel with enormous expectations. But when the Pacer finally arrived, consumers were stunned, and not in a good way. The front-end design, with its odd horse-collar grille, struck many people as clunky and confusing, and worse, the promises made in the advertising didn't line up with the real-world experience. With a starting price around $2,900, more than $30,000 today, the Pacer was positioned as a mid-tier luxury car. But poor build quality, a teletouch transmission that failed constantly, and a string of electrical problems eroded buyer trust fast. In an economy that was already slowing down, spending money on an unreliable car was something Americans simply weren't willing to accept. Sales collapsed, dealers stopped ordering it, and within just a few years, the Edsel name faded into obscurity. Today, the Edsel Pacer stands as a clear lesson. Marketing can't save a product that isn't good enough. A beautiful dream shattered by overconfidence and a failure to understand the customer. Number 1. The 1959 Ford Edsel Ranger. You can't talk about disappointing cars without mentioning Edsel, and within that story, the Ranger is the clearest example of all. Born out of Ford's ambition to launch a brand new mid-tier brand, the Edsel Ranger was expected to make a real mark. Instead, it became one of the longest, steepest slides in American automotive history. Design-wise, the front end with its famous horse-collar grille sparked fierce debate. Few people loved it, many were turned off. But the problem wasn't just looks. The Ranger also came loaded with so-called modern features, push-button gear selection, a domed electronic speedometer, all sounding great on paper but proving difficult to use, prone to failure, and expensive to repair. The V8 engine was adequate, but the driving experience wasn't particularly exciting. On top of that, poor build quality, misaligned doors, flimsy interior trim chipped away at buyer confidence, and as the market entered a period of tightened spending, the Ranger never got a chance to course correct. Today, the Edsel Ranger stands as a symbol of failing to understand the market. It reminds us that no matter how fresh your idea is, if it doesn't solve a real need, it's nothing more than a failed experiment. Behind every failed car is a bigger story, a story of ambition, of an era, and of expensive lessons learned. The cars on today's list might look strange, drive poorly, or come across as pure excess. But together they helped shape one of the most vibrant and chaotic chapters in American automotive history. They remind us that great looks alone aren't enough, and great features alone aren't enough either. A car only truly succeeds when it actually fits the person behind the wheel. If you enjoyed stories like this one, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below letting us know which car on this list you think is the craziest. See you in the next video.